For years, BRS Software was the absolute go-to for countless businesses as an offline tool. But what happens when offline just doesn't cut it anymore? Well, today, we're going to break down how BRS is adapting with their connected your way approach. And it's all designed for how businesses actually grow in the real world.
See, every great piece of software has a story, right? For BRS, it starts out super simple, an incredibly reliable offline system. But then, you hit a turning point. That moment where their clients started growing and their needs grew right past the four walls of the office. And that brings us to where we are today with this whole philosophy of being connected your way.
For the longest time, BRS Software built its name on being this rock-solid, offline-first ERP. People loved it for its stability and speed, which was perfect for businesses working inside a single local area network, a LAN. Basically all the computers in one building. It just worked. No fuss. But then you hit this question. And it's a big one that every successful business runs into eventually. Your team starts getting bigger, maybe you're even opening a second location, or you just need the freedom to work from home. What do you do then? This is where the rubber really meets the road. All of a sudden, you need remote access for your team. You've got to manage operations in different places, and you absolutely need the flexibility to log in from a laptop, a home PC, whatever. These weren't just ideas. These were the real-world challenges BRS was hearing from their customers, and they knew they had to find an answer.
And their solution? Well, it wasn't some single, rigid, one-size-fits-all path. Nope. Instead, they came up with three totally distinct options. The big idea here is choice. It's all about letting you decide what actually works for your business and your budget. So what are these three paths? Okay, first up, you've got SQL Server hosting. Think of this like putting your database up in the cloud. Then there's the VPS or virtual private server, which is kind of like having your own private computer running in a secure data center somewhere. And finally, there's VPN-based access, which lets you create a secure tunnel right back to your main office computer. Let's dig into how they compare.
But how do you choose? Which one of these is actually the right fit for you? Because it's not just about the tech, is it? It's about what your business needs and, just as important, what your budget can handle. So let's put them side by side.
All right, looking at this, you can see the trade-offs pretty clearly. If you want maximum flexibility and the ability to work from anywhere, SQL Server hosting is probably your best bet. You pick the provider and, get this, BRS doesn't add any recurring charges. Now, if you need total, centralized control over everything in your own little digital world, a VPS is the way to go. And for teams that are really watching the budget, the VPN option is fantastic because it just uses the computers you already have. It all comes down to what you value most.
Let's just zoom in on that SQL hosting for a second. The huge win here is freedom, total freedom. You can get to your ERP from any PC anywhere on the planet. But the real freedom, you get to choose your own hosting provider. That means you're not locked into one vendor, and critically, there are zero extra recurring fees coming from BRS. You just pay your host.
Now, for the VPS option, there's one thing you absolutely have to remember, and it's a big one. You are in charge of your own backups. Think of it like renting an empty warehouse. You get the keys, you have total control over what's inside, but you're also the one who has to lock the doors and make sure everything is secure. It's an incredibly powerful setup, but it demands that you're on top of your game with backups to keep your data safe. And then we have VPN access. This one is all about a single, simple balance. The benefit? It is by far the most budget-friendly way to get this done. The trade-off, that main computer or server back at your office has to stay on 24/7 for it to work. It's a really clear choice. You're trading a little bit of convenience for some pretty serious cost savings. Okay, a quick but super important practical detail here. No matter which of these connected solutions you go for, you're gonna need a multi-user license. It makes sense, right? A standard single-user license is just for one machine. So as soon as you move into a world where multiple people can log in at the same time, you need that upgrade.
So, we've looked at the what, the different options you have. But what's really cool is understanding the why behind it all. See, behind the technology, there's this simple customer-first philosophy that's driving every single one of these decisions at BRS.
It really all comes down to this one question. They ask it all the time. If we were the customer, what would we choose? That question is the filter. It's the guiding light that shapes every single feature and every single choice they put on the table.
And you can totally see how that one question leads directly to these values. Prioritize ease on the pocket, that's the whole idea behind the VPN solution.
Offer choices, not forced upgrades? Yep, that's why there are 3 different paths. They're trying to innovate with real-world limitations in mind, really aiming to grow with their clients, not just race ahead of them with shiny new tech for the sake of it.
And in the end, that's really the core message here. True innovation isn't about having the latest buzzword on your website. It's about taking powerful technology and making it accessible, practical, and sustainable enough for a real business to actually use it to get things done day in and day out.
So we end by turning that question right back around to you. We've seen the options, we've seen the philosophy behind them. The only question left is, what does your business actually need to grow? And that's the choice that BRS wants to empower you to make. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer.